On this episode of Fly Fishing Unfiltered, our guides break down the gear, types of water, flies, and top locations for summer steelhead success. Hey everyone, David, Northwest Fly Fishing Outfitters, coming to you with another Fly Fishing Unfiltered, and our group continues to grow. We are coming to you today with what we're calling the Steelhead Syndicate, and this is going to be everything steelhead related. This group is going to cover today's summer steelhead. As we get into winter steelhead runs, we're going to be talking to you about that, but this specific episode is all about summer steelhead. We're going to cover the water to fish, the type of water to fish. We're going to cover gear. We're going to cover flies. We're going to cover lines to get you ready for this summer steelhead season. So with that, we're going to get underway and we're going to talk about gear. So Colby, I know you love summer steelhead fishing. And so why don't you run through the gear that you are preferring to fish, both with your clients and both on the water yourself, and then you guys feel free to jump in with what your sticks are that you prefer.
Absolutely. If I had to pick one, it would be a spey rod. I myself don't nymph for steelhead. I really like a tight line swung fly.
Okay.
That gets my rocks off pretty well.
All right.
Depending on the water, you can use a single hander. I would say a 10-foot single hand, probably a 7 or an 8 weight would be best.
Okay.
And then for the two-handed variety, which is my favorite, personally fishing, I'm going to use probably a long 6 weight. But for folks getting into it and want to dip their toes into the proverbial water, I would say getting a 13-foot 7 weight is a bang-on choice.
Is that also something that's going to work for winter steelhead fishing? Is this a universal rod that people will be comfortable?
That was a very leading question, and yes, I would say the 13-foot 7 weight is going to be the 9-foot 5 weight.
All right.
In the steelhead parlance.
It's my job to ask the leading questions. So,
it was like a horse to water. I drank it.
Thank you very much for that. And it's right, this shop loves swinging flies, but some of us also will jump into some water after we've swung some flies and work a nymph rig through that same water. Anyone here want to talk about what they're fishing, a single hand rod nymphing, and weigh in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do a little bit of that both locally and over there, and I usually fish like a 10-foot 8 weight.
Okay.
That's kind of where I like to stick. The 10-foot gives me a little bit more reach, lets me high stick a little better mending to the indicator.
Okay.
Just a easier tool for the job, I would say. But I also agree with Colby on the 7 weight, 13-foot spey rod is kind of the jack of all trades for what you're going to be doing for summers or winters. But yeah. What about you,
Zach?
Same. I'm all about that. That's what I roll. I prefer the spey. I'm all about the look mom 2 hands. And yeah, but I have nymphed from time to time, especially on certain waters that you can fish out of the boat. You know, what else are you doing in between runs? You know, what am I going to do? Just sit there?
I tell you what I'm doing when we're between runs. I'm breaking out the Euro rod and I'm catching them on an egg on a Euro rod.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can we get some love on that,
dirty.
brother?
I still have never yoinked up a steelhead, but I'm hoping to this year. This is going to be my year.
Yeah.
All about the yoink.
And then how about you, Gabe? What are you liking to fish? Same?
Prefer 2 hands, really any type of 2-hand swinging, scandies preferably. Skagits are fun too. And then I got no pride on them. I will get down and dirty. Yeah. One of
the previous owners here, Jack Hagan, I was talking to him last summer steelhead, and I asked him how often he would have his clients nymph, and he said that originally what he would do is he'd have clients swing through a run, and then he would ask them like, hey, you ready to get dirty and catch another steelhead? And they would run through with another nymph rig after having swung one up, and they would pick another one off with a nymph rig. So my big question, a lot of people have this belief that fly fishing for steelhead is super, super expensive. And I know Colby set out an Ask With here. Fantastic rod. It is, I think all of us love the Loomis Ask With. But are you guys swinging any cheaper rods? Anything that's a little less expensive that our listeners could, that maybe are working within a budget could afford?
they're viewing too.
Yeah, I mean, to the
Full
people
space,
at home,
right?
yeah, the Echo full space kind of where I lean when
Yeah.
it comes to the rod that can handle both a skagit and a scandi extremely well.
Yeah.
The Echo full spay is a great stick at what, 550.
Yeah.
Echo has lifetime warranties on almost all their rods. They have replacement tips for all their rods. When you break a spay rod, it's typically around the tip section. So buy a tip when you get your rod, or the Echo swing. Gabe's
Yep.
had experience with the Echo swing. I don't know if these guys have casted it much, but it's a fun stick too, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, the Echo Swing, it used to be a little cheaper. Now it's $325. Still, for that price, I mean, absolutely killer. I have one. I have that and a full spay. I love both of them. I'll put them up against some of my more expensive rods too.
Mhm.
They're both great rods.
And I know if Matt was sitting here, another rod that he would talk about is Beulah.
Beulah,
Any of you
yeah.
guys had any experience with the Beulah spays?
Not bad.
I have one of the 7132 Platinums. I love it. Before I tried it, I was kind of like, eh. After I fished it, I jumped on board with it. It's a great rod.
Do you have a mission?
No.
I've been hearing good things about the Orbis mission.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been wanting to try one of those. I haven't gotten
Yeah.
my hands on one yet.
Well, we will have to bring that into the shop. My next question on gear is ultimately reels. And a lot of these videos that we've filmed recently, we've talked about reels, and it's more of it's kind of just there to hold line. Totally different story when we're talking steelhead, right? We're wanting some drag. I know some of you guys are clicking Paul because you want everyone in the world to know that you got a steelhead on. Half the time it's just you guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's just you guys ripping line off half the time. But
Yeah. Colby's got me so
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
I never
It's
mind.
way more fun to watch your buddies' heads turn at Mach 10.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
So,
But let's talk a little bit about reels because this is a species that we do need to be concerned about reels. So anyone want to jump in on the reels?
I got a question for everybody when we're done with the reels,
Yeah.
but I guess I'll start with I like to fish basically everything I can as far as like full frame with good drag systems, and I really like the Sage spay reel
Yeah.
because it has a numeric drag, so I can
Yeah.
set it to a certain value, and I know exactly the perfect tension for the steelhead take, whether it's a winter fish, summer fish,
Okay.
whatever it is. But that reel for me and the price, best bang for its buck for spay fishing.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm a fan of that. I know everybody does hatch here,
Yeah.
and they're just kind of the best. They're pretty hard to beat for sure. And I've definitely had some problems where I've messed up my drag and lost. I mean, I'm not gonna blame the gear. I did it. It was me. But I'm also gonna blame the gear. And but no, I mean it happens. But you do want, and the click and pawls are rad. I don't do it a lot yet, just because I feel like I'm like, I got to get like another few out of 0 or 2 to my digits of getting steelhead.
Steelhead count's not high.
So that'd
enough
be
to
like
justify
10
the
years.
click.
Right, I'm like, I'm not ready to just lose fish for a cool noise, but I'm really close. I'm getting real close to
Okay.
doing that, and depends on where I am.
So for you guys, a drag system is really important, especially for someone that maybe hasn't landed a lot of steelhead. Maybe click and pawl is not the place to start.
Not to start.
Colby differs. I know.
I differ. It can go both. It can go both ways. I
Okay.
think it comes with some caveats,
Sure.
but
Hold that thought for my question at the end.
All right, we're
Okay.
gonna hold the thought.
Okay.
Anything else on the reels without getting specifically into brands? Yeah, we all love Hatch. They're pretty indestructible reels. Anything else that people should be looking for in a great summer steelhead reel that could also be used perhaps in the winter months?
I mean, for the guy who
So-
wants to not spend a ton of money, you can go onto eBay and find some old Hardy reels, some
Yeah.
old Fluger medalists.
Yeah.
You don't have to break the bank on a Bell or a Bouglé or a Farlex or anything like that.
Okay.
So you can go in and get your giggles with a click and pawl reel.
Okay.
But for the most part, yes, having a drag does help for the novice angler, just because learning to palm, learning to do all the things that might be a prerequisite for the click and pawl is tricky.
Okay. Next thing, did you want to ask your questions now before getting into lines? Or
Yeah. If
okay.
we're on the reel talk, I just want to go over this because I think what
Reel
he's getting
talk.
to might actually be part
Sure.
of this. But say since we're talking just kind of steelheading in general, winter fish versus summer fish, what reel and why?
So for my personal fishing, I always use a click and pawl. I just like either getting my ass kicked, and I like it to be a loud experience.
Okay, for the consumer,
For the
what
consumer,
would you suggest?
For the person in my boat, they're going to be using a hatch disc.
Okay.
And it's going to be set to what I want, and they will not be holding a loop, and
That's a great.
they will just be waiting until I say, yeah, give them the beans.
Okay, give them the beans.
So
Frank
this is
and the
also
beans.
why I like my Sage spay
Yeah.
reel, because I've had clients that when they hook fish, they want to play with the drag, and I
Yeah.
can look at it and go, hey, why'd you touch my drag?
Yeah.
You guys are like, well, I didn't mess with it, dude. I go, well, I leave it at 5.
Yeah.
Every time we start our day, it's at 8.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
lost that fish.
Dad says, don't touch the thermostat.
Yep.
So
True.
yeah, I mean, this is why I like to hear these talks, because I think everyone's opinion on this is kind of cool, and like the intimacy we've had with fish, with click and pawls versus the newer angler looking to catch their trophy steelhead. You can have the right gear to make this more accessible to them, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, what about you? What do you think for winter versus summer fish?
I mean, if I strictly wanted to land fish for either, really, I mean, I would fish a sealed, drag, whatever, disc drag. You have much more stopping power. There have been quite a few fish that I have been very thankful that I've been fishing a disc drag.
One on
And-
Thanksgiving Day, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I had been fishing a clicker, that fish probably would not have been landed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it would have been really fun because I would have gotten my
Yeah.
butt kicked.
There's no denying that.
That's
There's no
cool.
denying that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, but if you're wanting to go catch fish, you don't want to just go, have it jump a couple times and run you 200 feet downriver and pop off. Having a disc drag reel is really going to benefit you in that extra stopping power.
And we're doing also some like grande reels. We're having clients get into grande reels
Yeah.
for an
Yes.
affordable price point reel as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Air light as well.
the
The reason-
what's that?
The air
Air
light.
light.
Air light,
Yes,
okay.
Air light's sick, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking everybody this, and I want to hear your opinion too, is because I have one kind of big thing that I want to drive home to our customers
Yeah.
when they're choosing these reels based
Yeah.
off the fisheries they're going for,
Okay.
the species they're chasing. So, winter versus summer, which reel and why?
Well, I guess if I were to, I would like to do, because I'm going to get a click, maybe tonight, and eyeballing. It's been eyeballing me back all day. It's giving me
It has.
those eyes.
I've been
Yeah,
trying to.
you've seen
I've
it.
been trying to separate you two, but it's hard.
That's sexual tension. In
There's a
here.
lot of.
It's sick.
Just got burnt.
But I do like getting my ass kicked, and for consumers too, you got to look cool. The fish care.
Yeah.
And that looks pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
But I would do generally. I have hotter fish in the summer, but a lot of times I'll have bigger fish in the winter.
Right.
And so they're also more scarce. So I kind of like winter fish are a little more precious to me. I'm like, I don't losing those fish. Losing a summer fish when you're out on a beautiful day on a big river having a good time and sleeping on a cot, not a big deal. When you've just been pummeling yourself and just getting
Your ass handed to you.
ass handed to you,
Yeah.
soaked in rain, really cold out, general bummer vibes. I kind of want to keep those fish.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna err on the side of safety in the winter and get a little more reckless in the summer.
Okay.
There you go.
I like
So I
that.
think you hit it right on the head. Personally, to me, it's the fact that winter fish are rarer and more of a pursuit. We
Yeah.
try really hard for them. We don't come in touch with them very often. So when we do hook up with one, I want the best disc drag to land that
Yeah.
fish and to touch the unicorn, right? Now you go to the Deschutes and we talk about it all the time. We've had 3+ fish days out there. So when you lose one, it's kind of more fun to lose one because you have that idea of like, yeah, I'm going to touch another.
Sure.
So for me, summer fish, the more abundant species on those rivers that have a lot more of them running through, I like to get a little crazy with the click and pawl. This is when I like to get weird. I
Yeah,
like to
get weird.
with them,
Love
'cause I'm
getting
going to
weird.
lose them, but I'm going to find another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Winter fish, I really think it's important to have the best drag system you can have to, one, not freeze up on you, and
Yeah.
two, land
Definitely.
that unicorn, which are usually bigger.
Okay.
They're more lethargic, so when they do wake up, you want that drag to engage and be smooth.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think it's important to kind of touch base there for the inexperienced steelheader getting their first reel.
Well, I appreciate the feedback on the reels, and now let's get right into the line. So everyone, for the most part, knows you got scandies and skagits, and there's a lot of people that weigh in on this. Gabe, I think you already touched on it earlier. You prefer scandies over skagits. So for those, let's assume people watching this don't necessarily know the difference between a scandi and a skagit. So let's touch on the scandi and skagit and then hear from you all as guides. What is your preference? Is it a time of day that you're choosing to go from a scandi to a skagit? Is it type of water? What really is the breaking point for you switching back and forth between those? So, Gabe, why don't we start with you? You talked on scandis already.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, a scandi is like your elegant dry fly form of spay fishing. Not really meant. Yeah. little pinky cup sip. It's not meant for heavy sink tips. It's meant for smaller flies. It's going to be a lot lighter. You're going to have to work a lot less. You can throw a poly leader on the end of it, a light poly leader, and in turn, it's basically a sink tip, just a lot longer and more gradual. Sink tips for skagits are very clunky. If you tried to throw that on a scandi, would not go too well. So you can throw a poly leader on and still fish a scandi through the middle of the day, and still have that kind of more enjoyable, delicate fishing that you would with a scandi.
Okay. And then skagit?
Yep, skagit.
Skagit.
That's the other option.
Skagit's the big beefy one. That's going to be the one that most everyone uses in the winter. All winter you're fishing a skagit.
Right.
Heavy sink tips, big flies, all those big crazy marabou flies you see and intruders and tubes. Leechy stuff. That's all going to be your skagit thing. In the summer, when the sun's high in the middle of the day, fish are a lot less likely to come up to a scandi.
Okay.
So if you put a skagit on in the middle of the day and you can get down a little deeper and to a little lower in the water column, they're going to be a lot more likely to come and take your fly. Whereas with a scandi, they're coming way up in the water column.
Okay.
And very vulnerable.
So for you guys as guides, you got your client out there, and some of these are going to be your clients. And by the way, this is our announcement. Make sure you book with these guides. These guys know these rivers. They're amazing guides, and we want to make sure that they're doing what they love, which is teaching you guys how to steelhead fish in the water that they love. But for those that are listening that want to do it DIY, or you got people in the boat, really, what is your defining moment for each of you when you're going to switch over from a scandi to a skagit?
Sun.
It's entirely sun.
Sun's a big
Yeah,
one.
I think it's kind of a universal
rules. Yep.
And so I guess my
answer.
question, when we talk about sun, we're talking directly overhead sun, and we're talking sun at their back, sun in their eyes,
Yes.
all of it,
Yeah.
all
Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we're talking about different rivers, and different rivers are going to be running different
Sure.
directions and have the sun at different times. So it's difficult to say, but I'd say as a general rule, if it's in the shade or early morning or late evening,
Okay.
scandi's great. I think that's ideal. Once that sun is on the water, and especially up in the afternoon, and it's high noon, that skagit will probably be more productive.
Okay.
But that would be perhaps a metric that is rather subjective to the angler.
Okay.
I know and guide people who like to fish a scandi all day. And yes, you can catch a fish in the afternoon on a scandi in bright sunlight. I've done it with a single hander last week.
Okay.
If you're new to spay casting, a big difference, like fly fishing in general is amazing and so fun. Spay casting is a thing of its own. And that's what's so rad about this is you don't have to be catching fish to completely enjoy yourself.
Sure.
That's why we go out all winter, and I just enjoy spay casting. All of us do. Everybody who gets one does. And so that's what's really nice is you really get the angler's preference. We all have what we would do, and we will share that obviously, but some people, if you just want to cast scandi, you can cast scandi. And when you get to this level, if you're with the two-handed rod and you're going out for steelhead, like there's like you're going for a very rare fish to find, fishing the most difficult way to get one, and you don't care, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, that's true.
So we talked skagit. Let's talk tips on skagit. It's totally different tips that we're running, right? So what's your ideal setup if we're going to skagit? What is your ideal setup in terms of everything, line to tips?
10 feet, T11, next chapter.
10 foot T11 next chapter.
As Deck Hogan says, 10 feet of T whatever.
10 foot of T whatever.
Yeah, T8, T11, T14.
I mean, I'm kind of on the side on like some of these summer run fish. I don't have to go as deep to
Yeah,
them.
yeah, for
So
sure.
like I'll just throw a 10-foot T8 tip to make it easier on me and my guys. And I'm usually throwing smaller flies anyway, so I'm not too worried about like mass pushing mass. And
Okay.
even like the winter flies, I might size down my tube flies to about 1.5 inches, 2 inches max instead of that like 3-inch size. You know, I'm kind of shortening things up, but yeah, I mean, 10-foot T whatever works just fine on a skagit.
All right,
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, I think this is a great initial breakdown on gear. Of course, if you guys have questions, come into the shop. We'll get you all lined up. Next, what we're going to cover the type of water that we find summer steelhead in, and we will jump right into that here in a second.
Could I jump on one thing, David,
sure.
before you close there? Terminally, Tippet.
Oh,
What poundage do we use?
that's
Do
great.
we like
That's
fluorocarbon?
yeah, that's-
Maxima?
thank you.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. What's your guys' answer to that question?
Start from right and go left.
I'm new to it. You handed me some fluoro yesterday, and I'm like, why don't I always have fluoro? So yeah, probably would 12-pound, 10-pound fluoro, just like kind of constantly.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense. Strong, stealthy. Why not?
Stealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a 12, 15-pound fluoro for summer guys, and then mug for winter fish is kind of where I run.
Okay.
15-pound Maxima Ultra Green is fine.
Sure.
I think I'm somewhere around like 15-pound fluoro for most things. I might bump to like 17 maybe in the winter.
Okay.
20 depending on if I'm on like the OP or something
Sure.
weird. And then to add more, I would probably do 3 feet off the tip of my
Yes.
sink tip. No
Okay.
more, no less.
Okay.
And I keep my summer leaders pretty short too. I don't buy into the ultra long leader thing.
Okay. Gabe?
I'm pretty vanilla.
9 foot.
10. No. Whatever I have in my box, whether it's 10 to 15-pound Maxima, ultra green or clear, I try not to worry about it too much. I just tie a fly on and swing mindlessly and hope it happens. So same, 3 to 4 feet. Don't
Okay.
need much.
That's great. All right. I really appreciate this. We're going to get next into the type of water that we're fishing during the summer, and we'll stick to summer in this section. So we'll see you on the flip side. All right, thank you, everyone. Covering all that gear, I know it's going to be super helpful for our listeners, and really appreciate you breaking stuff down. It really helps me just as a fly angler that kind of hacks my way through everything. I really appreciate you guys and your knowledge. Next, let's get into the type of water that we're looking for when we're talking specifically summer steelhead runs. Depth of water, speed of water. We fish a lot of different water in Washington and Oregon, so if you can help us identify what a solid summer steelhead run looks like for you guys, especially if you're brand new to a piece of water. What identifies as a summer steelhead run?
Sure. First and foremost, I know you're saying run.
Okay.
I would. There's a little bit of nuance. I mean, some spots will have a lie or a bucket, and some will be
gotcha.
much more of a classic run.
Yep.
But one thing that will be similar to both is that you will find water that, let's say, 5 feet in depth, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. But it'll be a very smooth laminar flow.
Okay.
So it's going to be straight flowing water at a man's walking speed is usually what they say.
Okay.
And it's just somewhere where that fat bastard can sit and not have to expend too many calories.
Sure.
They're lazy cats, so they're going to sit where they can kind of pull over.
Okay, and when you're talking a bucket, what defines a bucket? If you're looking at a piece of water, what would someone identify as a bucket? What would that look like?
I mean, that's so contextual because
Is it created by rocks? Is it created by structure? Is it what's creating a bucket? Let's start with that maybe.
A bucket would be, I would visualize something deeper. So you could have something that's quite shallow, and then it might be maybe it's a drop off.
Okay.
Maybe it's a gradual spot where all those three things that they're looking for aligns. Sometimes I'm visualizing this because I just got off the North Umpqua not too long ago, which is entirely different than you'd fish any other river around here, where buckets are very different.
Okay.
Because it's ledge rock, so they're all set up different depending on the substrate of the river.
Okay.
The way I break it down to my dudes is like, if the watercolor changes at all, that's potential for a bucket. If
Okay.
it deepens out at all, that's the bucket. The bucket doesn't have to be an exact depth. It doesn't have to be specific, but where the run is the same depth all the way through and there's a small depression in the riverbed, that's your bucket. And it could be a very small depression from a matter of a few inches, or it could be a couple feet deeper in that one
Okay.
bucket. But that's what I would classify as a bucket.
You don't always need to be in the water to see it or have as much as a color change. A lot of times if you, as you do this more and more, you're just staring at water forever. You can see it when you look down the river, especially when you look downstream, and which is handy because that's the way that we're usually going when we're swinging for steelhead. You can actually see a little depression if you kind of get down and just really focus, especially on those those runs that are a little more uniform. You can see the small depressions and just start paying attention to the little details and the tells that the surface of the river will give you to what's happening below.
Yeah, like to add on to what Zach just said, I think all this really plays into like reading water is the strong suit here for sure.
Absolutely.
So because like Colby mentioned, those buckets are very all over the place on what they might look like. And to Zach's point of being able to look at the water and see a bucket, for me especially, I can see the flow of where the bucket is a lot slower than the rest of the current.
Okay.
Every section of the river is moving faster than that one area where it looks like there's a bucket because of the depression.
Okay.
So for me, adding to both of these things and putting them together, that helps me find those buckets.
I have one quick thing to add on. Eric put this, who's not with us but works here, put this into words for me one time. For those of you who are it might be a little harder to understand buckets and lies and this. When you stand in a piece of water and you look downstream, if it looks like an infinity pool and it's a walking speed with a rocky bottom, it's probably going to hold fish. And that is a pretty easy, basic way, especially on a river like the Deschutes where it's a lot bigger. If you walk into a run and you look downriver and it looks like it just goes forever, as long as it has a good speed and a rocky bottom, it's probably going to hold fish.
Yeah, if it sucks to wade, if it's a bunch of greased up bowling balls, the worse it is to wade, it's probably better to fish. And yeah, that's how it always seems to be. If I'm having a real tough time getting through it, I feel a good potential for a grab.
I mean, dude, summer steelhead, I know, like in winter, we find like big boulders. They really like big boulders. Is that still the same kind of thing?
True.
We find some larger boulders on a run. You're probably going to have some steelhead.
I'd say anything that's like a basketball or bigger, a fish will hold behind.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like a Volkswagen, sitting in the river.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything that just breaks the current up. And to Gabe's point of the infinity pool, a long level gravel bar. Okay. Not just a long run that's going downhill, but a long level run is the trick for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Also in front of boulders too. Can't totally explain that one, but I find a lot of fish in front of rocks. And the cool thing about steelhead and just the spots where they go, the lies, the buckets, the structure, a lot of times like there's spots that are just kind of made for steelhead, and rivers do change a lot, but on rivers that don't as much, we were talking about this week, and like if you catch a steelhead or get a grab at one spot, you could go back in a month, you could go back next year, 2 years, and remember that spot because there's a high probability that you'll get another one the next time you go back.
There's a spot on the Clackamas that we all know, and we won't mention the name because we don't want to blow anything up here. Colby has a very special name for this run, but there are a couple big rocks, and it's guaranteed that there are steelhead, summer steelhead are sitting there almost every single day that you show up. And if you're the first person in that run, it's a pretty good chance that you're going to swing yourself into a fish. So that's why I really want to kind of clarify. And those are big boulders. I mean, they're not Volkswagen boulders, but they're definitely larger than basketball size.
Oh yeah, they're like
45s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're big cooler sized ones for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Well, since we're talking about the water, I know one of the things that I give you guys all grief on is casting, and we all love spay casting. Well, most of you love spay casting. I don't because my cast sucks. But a lot of you guys love just jacking line. And it gets you're like, oh man, look at that. Just look at that loop, and that just sailed out there. Should our approach be to work close and then work our way out?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know, like, I've seen people get out there and they're just ripping line off the very first time they get out to a run, and all of a sudden now they're just jacking line, and I'm just like, what are you doing? There's a steelhead 15 feet in front of you.
Waist deep, too.
Right.
We get so many steelhead, like, within 3 feet of the bank. It's crazy. They will be in unbelievably shallow water. And yeah, they're tricky. They're little water gremlins. They're going to be where They're gonna be where you don't expect them. They're gonna be. I've almost stepped on so many, and yeah.
So I don't have to wade deep and cast super far to catch a steelhead.
No,
Not at first.
And when and yeah.
So your
those will
approach to
haunt
this
you.
water, let's talk your approach to this water. You walk up to what we've identified. This is a run. I feel like this has good structure. I feel like it's the proper speed. I feel like it's the proper depth. Walk us through, what does that look like? Very first, you step into the river. How many poles are you doing?
Right there, I'm already going to pull on your collar and bring you back to the bank. Because I always tell my guys, you fish your feet before you use your feet.
Okay.
So
That's great.
I always put flies where my feet are going to go. I never step into the river before flies hit it.
Okay.
Because to their point, how many times have you walked into a river first thing in the morning and just spooked the biggest freaking steelhead you've ever
Yeah.
seen?
Totally.
Like an inch in water, right?
Yeah.
Their dorsals are hanging out of
Yeah.
the water half the time. So fish your feet, then use your feet. That's
Okay.
where I would go with that.
Okay, that's a
Mhm.
great
Yeah.
tip.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Kind of next steps, you fished your feet.
Just start small, start short, because you want to get kind of a consistent thing going. If there's one really close, obviously you want to get it,
Yeah.
and then if one's a little bit further down, you want to spice them up. I think of them like water cats. It's like I'm playing
Water gremlin, water cat.
yeah, I'm just doing this to my cat, and like for a minute they're just gonna like not care, and then they're gonna like look down, and then they're shaking their rump. Like as it swings down and gets a little bit longer and gets closer to them, you want to piss them off.
You want them agitated.
Yeah, you want to piss them off, and that was one thing that's like these fish aren't feeding,
Yeah.
and so you want to annoy them. You want to tickle their noses, and if I was angry at something or something was annoying me and I didn't have arms, I'd bite it.
Sure.
Fair.
And on the flip side of that too, I have talked to some of the longtime steelhead guides. If there is something to be said about moving too slow,
I
If
want
a fish-
to approach this.
if
too.
a fish
Mhm.
has seen that come by him 25 times and it still hasn't gotten to him, eventually they're just gonna be like, screw this, I'm gone.
Yep.
As it gets closer, they will get more agitated. That is the key though. If you're moving too slow, eventually they're just gonna key off and they're out. So you want to maintain moving downriver at a steady pace so that they can see it, and when it gets to them, they're all fired up. And
Everyone here fishes pretty fast. What do you?
That's why I
And
wanted
we-
to talk. Is it like a 2-step rule? You swing through 2 steps? I mean, is it?
Well, let's get to what do you do before you even start taking steps? How much line do you pull off
Yeah,
in between
let's start,
casts?
yeah.
What's the right move there? Like, Colby, what do you think about that?
As far as you can jack it, bro.
This is where we get back into, oh, look at that cast. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Colby has a black
There's
dot
a steelhead
on
at my
his
feet,
running
but look at
line.
that.
He doesn't start till he gets 50 feet to the black dot.
Yeah.
Then he
True.
starts casting.
That's true. A lot of people overcast
Yeah,
for sure.
for a given run.
I think all of us.
All of us have,
Yeah.
all of us do, and everyone will. So yeah, not fishing too far for sure. Covering the inside first for sure. I mean, put something light through that. It depends if you're setting up as like I envision a lot of these answers as it's me with 2 anglers and we're
Yeah.
summer steelheading. I'm gonna rig them up differently so that the guy in front's gonna be lighter and he's gonna cover the inside. The guy in behind can be a little heavier or a little bigger or a little zig and a little zag, and do it totally differently. But I do want them moving fast through water. I'm going to be having them probably take like 4 steps a swing.
Yeah.
This is summer conditions. So the water's going to be warm, and it's going to be warm enough for a dry line until, I don't know, November. So
Okay.
moving fast through water ensures that you fish other water, which heightens your opportunities. So fish fast, fish clean.
How many steps are you taking when you're saying fish
already said
fast?
5.
Okay.
5 steps.
5 steps.
Yeah, so I mean,
And
I'm
4 or
kind of
5.
with Colby on this side. So, like, for me, when I get my dudes in the water, so you make your casts, you pull a steelhead's body length in between each casts.
Okay.
So you fish your feet, you pull a steelhead's body length in between each cast so you get to a good, comfortable distance that you're turning the fly over every time and you're fishing. You're not just chucking line out in a big crumpled mess. You're fishing your fly. And then every time you get to that, and every day's a little different. So maybe one day you're fishing good and the next day you're not.
Yeah.
Bird.
Come on, over here. Sorry about that.
Dog
We're good.
difficulties.
Okay, so back to that. And then once you get to your casting distance and your fishability distance, right, then that's when I agree with Colby. And like, I want my guys taking big boy steps, is what I say, or
Okay.
big lady steps down the river. I want at least probably 6 to 7 feet of coverage in between
Okay.
each
Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I mean, when I first started, it was just like 2 steps.
Yeah.
And that definitely has changed a little bit.
I think Gabe's gotten ran up on all of us, so he's learned how fast we fish, and now he knows what it means to keep your feet moving.
I got the nickname Grandpa Gabe. That's how slow I move.
He turned grayer, as we all did, every day on the water.
And it's obviously different. We're in boats. We're trying to cover, 8 miles, 10 miles in a day.
Sure.
But obviously, if you're walking into a run, like there's a time and a place for
I
everything.
mean, boat or no boat, though, I definitely think you have more opportunity to switch your flies and switch your tips more if you fish faster.
Yeah.
So, boat or no boat, fish fast.
So follow-up question on that. So you got 2 rods, you got a scandi and a skagit. Will you ever have your clients, or should people that have 2 rods and have the ability to do it, should they work through a run with a scandi, and then does it hurt anything to work through that run again with the skagit? If we're working quickly through water?
Not at all, especially if it's a crowded day.
Sure.
You found yourself a good piece of water. You have another piece of water that you could go to, but someone's probably in.
Yep.
It does not hurt. Maybe a fish cycled through, or maybe there's one in there that just didn't want to come up and eat a dry line.
And there is, I think Marty Shepard said that to me. It's like, when we're talking about like catching fish behind other people and stuff like that, like we've all caught fish behind ourselves.
Yeah.
And I've gone through with one thing, and I'm not floating or anything. I walk back up and be like, I want to do it again. I've caught a fish the second time through, and with a similar pattern, I'll change flies.
Sure.
Or in this case, I can run through skagit, run through scandi, then you're your way up.
I like it.
Yeah.
Last question before we get into flies. How often are you changing flies in the middle of a run? Will you change a fly right in the middle of a run? You're just not feeling it? Or is it something you work through the water and then you're like, now
you're not feeling it.
If you're not feeling it.
Yeah, rule number 1, that's definitely that.
Confidence is key. No one can really, or I can't explain it. I don't know if you guys can. But if you're not feeling a fly, it won't work. And there's been plenty of times where you just get that fishy feeling.
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of times I've had the fishy feeling and not gotten a grab. But there's never been a time where I haven't had that fishy feeling and got a grab. Like you kind of, and a lot of it has to do with the fly, and that somehow energy transfers up the rod into your hands and your brain, and you throw better. I don't get it.
It does.
I don't know why, but
I agree. I think I always call it like an energy transfer stick, not a fishing rod.
Totally.
Like those fish can feel everything, and I also firmly believe in when you're spay fishing, it's about trusting the process. It's about doing everything you can as consistently as possible, the best way to present that fly, and just trusting the process. So if you're over there in your head, you could be wiggling your rod, I don't know about this, you're just doing something weird, and those fish can see that weirdness going on. It's the wrong time to get weird.
Yeah, there we go.
Wrong time to get weird.
Yeah, it's about
there are
trusting,
times that it's okay to get weird. This isn't one of those times.
I genuinely feel like trusting the process of swinging a fly for a steelhead is really part of it. It's just getting that confidence in yourself and what's happening out there, not so much the fly on the other end, but what's happening with that fly, and just getting to the right fish.
Okay. And so when we're talking about getting the right kind of vibe with that fly, we're talking speed that fly is moving through the water. Is that correct?
Not even necessarily just confidence. For me, I'd say. Speed is obviously a thing, but you look in your box. If you have confidence in a fly, tie it on. You're gonna fish better.
I could buy into that. I usually have a fly that I'm confident in. My clients might not be confident in, but I am.
Yeah.
And so that's what they get to fish. They can fish their own if they want, but generally that fly, without going into too much detail, probably matches the water of the day.
Okay.
The conditions to some extent.
Yep.
And I don't put a lot of stock in magic color or magic this or magic that or whatever. It's just fish it. If the fish is receptive, awesome. If it's not, maybe in the next pool. And if not there, maybe the next pool.
Back to your original question, when would you change flies? There's one time that I would change flies if I got grabbed and a fish did not stick. That is where, you can either take a couple steps up after that and try and put the same fly over it again. If you go through and it was a grab, put that fly through again, doesn't eat it, change flies.
That's a good
If
point.
it grabs again and it doesn't stick, you can change again until it stops grabbing, or you catch it. But that is the one time that I would for sure change if I, a follow-up fish.
What's the most
Correct.
flies you guys have ever changed and caught a fish after a grab.
4.
Yeah, I'm at 4.
Took the Undertaker at the very end.
Ah,
The Undertaker, I like it.
yeah,
That's a good one.
that's good.
All black.
It's our WWF reference. Rest in peace, Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Amen, brother.
Amen,
Yeah,
brother.
brother. Amen, brother. All right. Well, next we are going to move into flies. This has been great. Really appreciate you guys breaking down water. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. So we've covered the gear. We've covered the type of water. Next, it's time to get into the flies. So walk us through a couple of steelhead flies, size, types of water we're fishing these flies. If one of you wants to jump in, jump in.
I'll start with Zach and our's favorite. I'm going to take this giant stonefly nymph because he and I both indicator fish in Euro nymph. So stonefly nymphs are solid.
Ooh, lacy, eggy things. And yeah, look at that. That is just skinny and juicy. And
These are the dirtiest but
Skinny.
prettiest flies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
so if you want to
absolutely.
get really, really dirty with your steelhead, come on in.
we'll
All right.
start from the bottom and work
Our way up.
Moving
All right.
on over.
Moving on over. Generally, you could run a tube fly, which is what its name entails. It is a tube. You would bring your tippet through the tube and then tie on your hook of choice. The tubes are great for afternoon sunshine, trying to throw a bigger profile, or for, maybe the water's really cold or the weather's changed drastically in the last few days. They probably won't be taking some of the small stuff, so a tube can be really nice.
Are you fishing those on a skagit and scandi both?
The tubes, I would go pure skagit.
Okay.
Totally.
All right. And then how about on the surface?
Oh, you're giving this to me. I figured Colby would take this.
I'll take the skaters, so I'll leave the small wetties for Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm gonna fish a little wet on a scandi, I like something small and sparse. This is a little steelhead soft tackle. Super simple, super small. They can see it just fine. And then Colby touched on tubes a little bit, but by far my most productive fly is just an all black tube. I mean, black gives off the best silhouette. They're gonna see it. It's big.
Hobo spays, we use those too.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Those are good. Reverse tied tubes are really good. Tubes are a really fun platform. You can do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Just don't overdress it or don't overdo it.
Yeah, if they're intimidating to you guys, come in and we'll show you how to rig them because most people avoid tubes because they're just not familiar with rigging, I find. So don't be afraid to come in and ask us how to set them up. We'll show you because they're a cool thing to fish. Now, finally getting to the funnest and the top water action.
The fun stuff is skaters. And arguably one we're missing here is a muddler. A muddler would be somewhere between a skater and a wet fly. You could fish it damp, as they might say, or somewhere in the surface. But these guys with a bit of foam, they're meant to skate. They're meant to chug in some places. This would be more of your scandi stuff. The larger ones like this scopper here, you'd probably want maybe more bigger of a line. Let's say more of a rage, something a little chunky to move some mass. But the smaller skaters and the small muddlers do excellent on a compact scandi to mid-lake scandi. Are phenomenal. And some people will fish them with an intermediate tip, but I'd say just a regular old nylon leader is plenty. Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
Well, thank you for covering the flies and then what everyone's been probably waiting for. Not that we're going to necessarily give out any secrets here, but I'm going to ask each of you your river of choice for summer steelhead.
Oh, no.
Get out the notepads, get ready to go, because we're giving all the secrets right here, right now. So, Zach, what's your river of choice?
Well, I'm going to go up a little further north. I'm going to say the Cowlitz.
Okay.
My grandpappy used to fish it in the 50s and 60s. And so, yeah, I'm going to say the Cowlitz.
All right. Spencer.
It's no surprise here. It's another river starts with the letter C, and the Clackamas is still my go-to for basically everything that swims.
Okay. Colby.
I've got a few different options because I have to be an ass, but I would say the Bonneville counts are looking really good. So the Deschutes is a great option. The Klickitat is a great option. And as a bonus answer, I'd have to just say the North Umpqua is near and dear and a very unique place to catch a steelhead. So.
Super cool place.
Awesome. And Gabe?
For me, it'd be the John Day. Just purely based off the diversity of water.
Even though we can't catch a fish out there, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
Get my butt kicked out there all the time. But it's a very fun river to fish. Definitely very, very different.
Awesome. So pretty much anything though with the letter C or the letter K has fish in it, right?
You're good.
That's pretty
That's
much
the
a
rules.
guarantee, especially up north in Washington. I would also like to say Middle Fork of the Willamette, I believe, is just an absolutely gorgeous river to swing up some steelhead. So Middle Fork of the Willamette, I would say, is my choice. If you have any questions on water, though, this crew here, again, they are guides. They are ready to get you out on the water, get you swinging up some steelhead. We're happy to help you on a multitude of different rivers. If you want to go out and do it DIY, we're happy to help you with that. Happy to get you set up with the right gear for various different water systems. So make sure you come in, send us a message. We're happy to answer that. And with that, we're going to wrap up this steelhead section. We really appreciate you tuning in to Fly Fishing Unfiltered. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button for following us for some great content. And with that, the Steelhead Syndicate is going to wrap things up. Thanks again for tuning in. What's that?
The Steelhead Syndicate is adjourned.
Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Leave a comment if you got any questions.
Yeah.
Answer.